What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rams Brothers. I'm your host, Dean, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and the other great host of this show, Nick. And Nick, it's been a while, but Rams camp is officially back as of today in Loyola Marymount. But before we jump into any of the details that have been looming from training camp and over the past month or so, first and most importantly, how are you, my good brother?
Great. Donkey Kong Bonanza is awesome. I've been playing a lot of the Switch too. Yeah, no, things are good. I mean, it's just like super hot. It's summer. If you're not at the beach, you're probably not having a good time if you don't have AC. So I've been hitting the beach a lot. I hope you're doing the same out in Jersey.
I'm trying to. I think people are starting to get worn out with summer. Like you get to the end of July, training camp begins. The Hall of Fame game, Nick, is actually 1 week from tomorrow. So you get Lions and Chargers 1 week from tomorrow. Football officially is here. But before we jump into any other details, I want to make sure to give a shout out to Vince AG on Twitter. He sent us these incredible St. Louis Rams shirts. You got all the greatest show on turf players on this shirt. And there's a great, I don't know if you can see the back of the shirt. Greatest show on turf. It's all explicitly spelled out and very, very well designed. So make sure to go check out Vince AG and go get yourself a t-shirt. And one other quick reminder, I know it's been a while, but we're going to be back full force obviously throughout the entire season, but we'll be a little bit more frequent with our YouTube posts. So I want to remind everybody to like and subscribe. Make sure to click the subscribe button. You click the like button. It'll help expand our reach. So I think everything that's come out of training camp so far has been, for the most part, pretty expected. I think there's a couple of little details that have been looming over the past couple of months that have been a little bit of a surprise. And I guess we'll start with Matthew Stafford, right? Because the news came out yesterday that the Rams plan to limit Matthew Stafford's practice time during the first 5 days of training camp due to his back soreness, Sean McVay told reporters. This is also reported from insider Gary Klein at LA Times Klein. He said, McVay on Stafford, quote unquote, if he was a first-year player, then I think you'd say, man, every rep really matters. I think it's the important thing is having a big picture perspective with a guy going into year 17. So 36, 37 years old, got a little bit of back soreness. My major concern isn't Matthew Stafford, though. It is the blindside protector of Matthew Stafford and Alaric Jackson, who's now dealing with his second case of blood clots in the same spot. Yeah. So you combine the back soreness with your blindside protector, Alaric Jackson, who just received a new contract with a continuous case of blood clots. That to me makes me a little bit nervous before training camp has really even begun.
The blood clot, it should be the main story. I think the Matthew Stafford thing is the catchiest because he's the quarterback and, you know, it's the Rams and he's old, you know, like old and as a quarterback is old. Generally speaking, he's not that old. But I mean, that's just something that you're going to do to your veteran quarterback. You're going to make sure that he feels 100%. You got plenty of weeks left until you even get close to smelling the start of the actual season. Sure, the preseason's looming, but that doesn't matter at all. The blood clot thing, we talked about a little bit before the show started. It's like the same spot. It's definitely concerning. It's not something that should be, just brushed over in the offseason. It's scary for that to be an ongoing problem.
Yeah, it is. And this is what broke from Alaric Jackson's camp yesterday via Wyatt Miller, who's also an insider with the Rams. He said Sean McVay said offensive tackle Alaric Jackson, in parentheses, blood clots, has a plan in place for camp that will allow him to do individual drills and jog throughs, but not the physical offensive lineman activities that they would typically do in training camp. He's not setting any expectations, meaning Sean McVay, for the season, but he didn't rule out Alaric Jackson being available to start the year. So I did a little bit of research on players with, specifically NFL players with blood clots, but it also stems out to the NBA and some other big name players that you guys are probably familiar with. So Victor Wembanyama, former first overall pick in the NBA draft a couple of years ago, he's dealing with it right now. Chris Bosh is another one. He had multiple blood clots, including his lungs, which forced his retirement early due to the clot reoccurrence. So the clot reoccurrence is really the biggest thing. Peyton Hillis had it in his leg. It was reported that he had a blood clot in his leg. He missed time and ended up returning to play. Everybody remembers him on the cover of Madden back in 2014, I believe it was. Ali Marpet is another one who had blood clot concerns. He ended up retiring early for health precautions. And also Trent Williams. He was another one who had it in his arm. He ended up having surgery, and he returned to full form. So it's a little bit scary. Those are just a couple of examples of players that have dealt with the blood clot issue, but have returned pretty much to primary form. But to see it for a second time for your blindside protector who just got a big time contract and an aging quarterback, I'm just hopeful that Devontae Adams isn't sitting here thinking to himself, got Stafford's out, we got no left tackle, and my quarterback is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo all over
again. Yeah, again. I mean, that would be a very, very unfortunate situation. I don't see all of that happening, at least to the start of the season. I feel like they'll come out swinging no matter what. And I think Alec will be most likely. I mean, they said they were targeting week 1, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a world where everything's just good to go in the start of the season. And if not, Texans are a really formidable defense. I mean, and that's the week 1 matchup. So, yeah, that is a concern if he's not playing week 1 with Stafford.
Yeah. I mean, you got Danielle Hunter, you got former defensive rookie of the year, Will Anderson, going to be coming around the edges. And those are, for Rob Havenstein, who just got his shoulders cleaned out via surgery. And then you got Alaric Jackson's issues with his blood clots. That makes me a little bit nervous for a week 1 matchup, but they are targeting week 1. And I get one other thing I wanted to say that our good friend Bruce actually just reminded us of was it's training camp, right? So players end up shaking loose. It could help in the secondary. It could help with the offensive line. You might get a veteran type tackle who could come in and start. But I'm thinking back to training camp last year where Puka was dealing with a knee bursitis. Alaric Jackson was actually suspended for the first 2 games of the season. So it's, this is what happens in training camp. At least it's not, tons and tons of injury issues so far. But I think this is one that you definitely want to focus on. We showed in the last episode that we did that they signed David Quessenberry, and they also signed DJ Humphries. I think Humphries would be more so of your left tackle depth type player. But you look at his PFF grades, 44.8 overall. That was 127th out of 140 tackles in the NFL. So his pass blocking grade is low. He's a good run blocker for the most part. But between those 2 guys, it's legitimate veteran depth, but it still is a reason for concern as we enter training camp.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if this spins right into Kyren news for you. I don't know exactly our breakdown, but it does feel like, with the Kyren negotiation looming, all of the offensive line stuff is, it's just like 1A, 1B. It's like you want to know about the next one right away.
Perfect segue, my brother. So here's what's going on with Kyren. So Jordan is actually still kind of like partially covering the Rams as they transition her role to another person, and they're still trying to figure out who's going to take on that Jordan Rodriguez role. But she tweeted yesterday that not that this was in question, but amid contract talks, Kyren Williams has reported to Rams camp, and Kyren actually was the source. He rolled up on a scooter with his suitcase in tow. Sarah Barshop, who covers the Rams for ESPN, also mentioned that Kyren Williams said he does not anticipate getting a contract extension. He does anticipate getting a contract extension done with the Rams, but said he doesn't have a timeline for it getting done. Drew Rosenhaus and Sean McVay and Kyren Williams and Les Snead were all supposed to meet today. Haven't seen any news on what has come from that discussion, but the plan is for Kyren Williams to be ready for week 1, even if he has not signed the extension. And Wyatt Miller, again, also mentioned that Kyren has been doing grip strength exercises during his offseason to help with ball security. He's also been working on getting in and out of his cuts to increase explosiveness. So it sounds like he's been reading Twitter is my takeaway from that final post from Wyatt.
Yeah, I just remember when Jordan was on this show and she was talking about Kyren, and I was kind of implying that I don't know if the Rams are going to be moving forward with him like long term after, with this contract extension. And she was just basically saying no, he's a Ram, and they don't just grade that in terms of like how great this player is, period. It's like he's a Ram. He fits all of our criteria top to bottom. So I know that they're going to get a contract extension done. It's just so like, yes, he's a Ram, but like how much are you willing to pay him in the running back market? Is he a top 10 running back in the league? I mean, I would say no, honestly. And I don't think he should be paid like a top 10 running back in the league. And it just how much that's going to affect our cap is concerning. And, grip strength, yeah, I mean, that should be 100% what he's working on, because it feels like those fumbles last year cost us the season. It cost us a game. They weren't good enough. I said it all last season. They weren't good enough if Kyren turns the ball over for them to be able to win the game.
Overcome it. Yeah.
Yeah, overcome it. And it just never happened. And it was I know it wasn't the exact reason why we lost that Eagles game. Some would say that the missed block on that third down at the very end, but that fumble really set us back, and we just couldn't overcome it.
Yeah, you know what? I was reading an article today on Howie Roseman about how he tries to prioritize signing young players who are on rookie deals before it's time to actually sign that extension, because you're getting them at a better market value, right? In terms of like, if you were to wait, the dollars continue to increase, contracts kind of level up one versus the other. You're seeing it with edge defenders right now. But my only counterpoint to what you're saying is like, the Rams weren't that team without Kyren Williams on the field. So he is a highly productive back. He's not explosive, and he does fumble at inopportune times. But I remember like it felt like it was time for Blake Corum to kind of start taking over games. And there were a couple of holding penalties that took him back and wiped out any positive yardage that he was gaining on those explosives. But I remember that was like was it the first week of the playoffs where his shoulder was, I think he broke his collarbone and he was in a sling. Maybe it was the last game of the season versus Seattle.
Game of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you don't have any real true security right now that behind Kyren Williams. Does that mean that you have to extend him? Probably not right now. You could probably wait till the season ends, but you're looking at a guy like Blake Corum. You're looking at Jarquez Hunter, who they feel like has a different skill set, is definitely more explosive, is a little bit more compact. I think they would get away with playing the entirety of the season without extending Kyren Williams. And then you deal with all the drama once the season ends.
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal, I feel like, because then it does also feel like we're at a point where it's like, okay, Stafford, maybe 1 year after this, like let's worry about this year. Let's push the chips in. I'm not entirely familiar with the free agent market right now for running backs, if there is anybody else that you want to bring in. But I mean, yeah, with Corum just doesn't also I feel like you need like a real 1B with Kyren, because Kyren's kind of like the bulldozer guy that can push it in. You want somebody that can just rip off explosives. And I mean, hopefully that's what he becomes. That's what he's trying to be, but we just haven't really seen it.
And the other thing to take into consideration too is you got all these young bodies who you're going to have to pay. You got Jared Verse, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, just on the defensive side of the ball. You look at Puka Nacua, who's going to demand, top 3 type money when it's time for him to sign his extension. So you got to be cautious of the salary cap if you are going to pay big money to a running back. And also, remember what happened over the last 8 years of the NFL draft? The Rams have consistently drafted a running back every single year. So, why are you prioritizing a Kyren Williams signing? The only reason to me would be that there is production there. It's not explosive production, but it is red zone production. And he embodies what a Los Angeles Ram is supposed to be. So it's definitely a difficult decision, and one that I feel like will continue to loom throughout the entire season.
It's just funny how I feel like we undervalued running backs as an entire league. Like the NFL, fantasy leagues, everybody out there completely undervalued running backs. And 2 huge free agents came on the market with Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. And both of them just had amazing second chapters in their career because they are, top tier backs. And I feel like now they're like complete unicorns, and everybody else is kind of like one step down. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, I would put in that same vein if he stops getting injured. But
yeah, no, you're entirely right. The league changes, right? It's like you're prioritizing running backs in the Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan type way. And then all of a sudden, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch decide that they want to go pay Christian McCaffrey big time money. Derrick Henry too, Saquon Barkley. Look at what the Eagles just did to reward Saquon with how their season ended up in winning a Super Bowl. So, yeah, I just don't think that Kyren is one of those 1A type players. He's a 1B, 1C tiered player that will I think, eventually get what he's worth in the 12 to 15 range in terms of like total running back value. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it all goes. But you mentioned the Eagles too, so I want to kind of transition over to the Eagles. One, because Kevin Dotson came into training camp, and it felt like when we were watching that tape back in the final play of the season last year, that it was a little bit of combination of Bo Limmer and Kevin Dotson, who ended up missing that assignment that led to Jalen Carter eventually sacking Matthew Stafford, or getting pressure on Stafford, which forced him to throw the ball out of bounds. But this is how Kevin Dotson showed up to training camp, with the greatest haircut I've ever seen in my entire life. And then also you got Kobe Turner coming out and saying the Rams have the week 3 rematch with the Philadelphia Eagles circled after the playoff defeat. And there was a lot of comments from Eagles fans like, oh, run it back. We're going to kick their ass again. But this team is definitely formidable. And, you know, if you just have a little bit more communication up front, obviously dependent on the health of your offensive line, and then guys that are overly physical that want to continue to harm Jalen Hurts and get him off of his spots and force him to go through his progressions, you know, that's exactly the kind of mentality that you need heading into training camp.
Let's see the haircut one more time.
I knew you were going to be mad that I didn't let you comment on the haircut. So yes, let's go back to it.
2 things. Number one, like, it's nice to have players on the team that like want to have fun. Like, I feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown is like in the playoffs is always doing the Honolulu blue hair. You know what I mean? It's like that stuff. I mean, it's just like the Rams never had anybody like that. Like, this is just a nice little, like, this is the Los Angeles Rams. Like, St. Louis Rams were never doing anything like this. Like, this is just beauty in every way. And then 2, you notice how the horn is not broken up there. It's a nice full ram horn, unlike the helmet.
I knew that was coming. You're totally right, though. This team has a confidence about them. It starts with the head coach, starts with the quarterback. They got a swagger about them. Yeah. Like this would never happen. It makes being a Rams fan more fun. It makes this time of year much more entertaining. So, but yeah, to your point about the broken horn, we got a little bit about that coming up in a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to show all, and you guys probably all saw this on social media and Twitter, but Devontae showing up to his first Rams camp, who just talked about how the energy in the building is just completely different from anything that he's dealt with. Wait till your blindside tackle is out and Jimmy Garoppolo is under center. Maybe things will change, Devontae. Hopefully not. You see Jared Verse and Byron Young showing up together in style. Jared Verse, in the video that the Rams posted, was like, I'm here. Training camp could start now. I'm here. And he's just a total maniac who every single word that comes out of his mouth is insanely entertaining. And then you got Puka rocking the golf cart. So everybody's trying to make their own little entrance. And it looks like Puka got that shirt in Maui when the Rams were in doing mini camp in Maui. So you got some really good camaraderie on this team. It feels like they're young, they're hungry, they're excited. And this time of year, if you can get your team prepped, ready to go, you're just going to start out much faster than you did the last 2 seasons, obviously, as long as injuries don't, show up as much as they did.
This is the time where you want to have some fun too, like Puka rolling like that, the guys showing off their fashion sense. There's nothing going on right now in the world of sports outside of like meaningless baseball games, which the Dodgers have been playing terribly. So it's just nice to have this to look forward to. I was kind of hoping that Stafford was going to be on quarterback this year, but that ended up not being the case. So, but it was still a great season. That is just one more thing to throw into the football mind, that like at least you have that right now until you get to the start of the season.
Like, why do we need 2 full seasons of Kirk Cousins?
How did that happen? Really, Goff and Burrow I thought were both great, but Cousins
Goff and Burrow are great, and then you get Stafford in there to tell his side of the story with how everything happened with Los Angeles and Detroit, and all of a sudden you marry everything perfectly together.
I have no insider information. Actually, that's not true. The Rams was about to drop insider bomb news later. However, I will say this: I wonder if the Rams were just like, please don't do quarterback.
He did his own thing. The Rams do behind the grind. Right. Hard knocks.
They did it through the Rams so that they have final say on everything. I just wonder if there was like a moment where they were like, please don't do it through it's a distraction as is. Let us at least control the narrative in case anybody in your camp says something crazy. Rams and Lions fans know exactly what I'm talking about right now, but I'm not going to specifically say what it is. But yeah.
Well, here's the thing too, like, and now that you're in Los Angeles, you have a full-fledged media team who wants to create content.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And you got it with the Chargers too. The Chargers do a hell of a job with their social media content. But the Rams content team and media team is really, really strong. They're producing their own version of NFL Hard Knocks with Behind the Grind, which has been amazing. They've done features on Matthew Stafford. So yeah, it's just part of it. But you mentioned insider information. I got not only a new graphic, but also some insider information directly from the DMs of us and Kevin Demoff that I'm going to share with you right now.
Welcome
to so loud.
Yeah, it's super loud. I love it. 2 comments going to tell us to make that lower. This is the new Rams Bros segment called #DMs with Demoff.
DMs with Demoff, and this is how it all began. So Nick, I think you saw this like late Sunday night, and I got a hold of it early Monday morning and tweeted it out. Essentially exactly what you sent to me was like, is this the new logo? If so, I like it a lot. So this is obviously an ongoing conversation about the Rams. Seems like they're behind schedule on releasing new uniforms and logos. But this was a leaked Rivals logo, quote unquote, that actually wasn't a rival logo. So this has nothing to do with the rival logos that you're going to see in the coming months. And Kevin Demoff debunked it via our DMs. So this is what Kevin said. This is a quote from Kevin Demoff, and you can see it on our screen. Whether people like the new hat or not, it's part of a league-wide hat program from New Era that they design, and the team doesn't have any input on it. Most people should know by now that teams really don't get any say on hat design, as New Era does concepts for the entire league. I don't believe that it's related to the rivalry program, as that mark is not part of our rivalry jersey. So as a follow-up, and this was Nick, between you and Dad just sending me, like, I basically copy-pasted that, put it back in our group chat and said, what do you guys think? And the response was, got it. Thanks for the info. Is there any rivalry jersey? Is the rivalry jersey finished and ready to go? So Kevin said the league handles the releases of all rivalry jerseys together. So that's on their watch. I think it's closer to the season. And then we asked another follow-up. So no plan for alternative jerseys, just the rivalry jerseys. Demoff said no, with the NFL choosing the NFC West for the rivalry. That would be the new jersey for this season. And then he said, I could be wrong, but I don't think that any of the NFC West or AFC East teams did any other new uniforms except the rivalry jerseys. So Nick, I'll open it to you. What's your takeaway as the show's official logo and jersey expert?
I just thought when they put together the package of this is what the rollout of the new uniforms are going to be. I had an insider friend who worked for SoFi, saw like the concept of it past what we had seen. So what we had seen was it was just the 3. It wasn't even that white one. It was blue. It was
bone.
Yeah, blue and bone, and that was it. That was all we had. And then the following year, they released the white one. But he had told me that there was a follow-up one after that, which was supposed to be released in 2023, which was yellow. So I've been holding out hope that yellow was going to be the following jersey. And then this year, the Chargers drop a yellow jersey. And then after that, the Steelers dropped the yellow jersey. So I thought we would be the first team to have a primarily yellow jersey. But now it feels like that's out the window. I don't think that's what they're going to do. I have no idea what this rivalry jersey is going to be because we haven't even seen any concept of it. We know it's not going to be that R logo, which we saw. I think the logo will probably stay the same. I just imagine the jersey will be a throwback in a way because it's all about rivalries and how rivalries go like deep back. I mean, I'm holding out hope for here. Show me your shirt. They're all on white jerseys there. I would love the dark blue St. Louis Rams jersey back. I just know that's probably not going to happen. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I guess there's a chance. My thought, though, like because it goes back to rivalries, because it goes back in time, essentially, it's going to be like the blue and white jerseys, but fully Nike-fied.
Like you're going even further back.
Yeah. Like the Deacon Jones type jersey that you see like on Mitchell and Ness, right? If anybody had the pleasure of watching Deacon Jones or any of those fearsome foursome players, that white and blue look is where I think they're going to go with it because the yellow has already been fully consumed. Plus, they already did a variation of it for the Color Rush series.
Oh yeah. That's what made me fall in love with the yellow. That's why I was like, you got to bring the yellow up to date with this.
Of course.
Because those Color Rush games were always so fun until they weren't at the very end.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take any kind of new merchandise. I feel like people like to. It's almost like the comment section of a bad Instagram post where everybody kind of like gets together and shares their sentiments of like, I don't want to buy any new merch. I don't like the way that they've done the redesign. I actually really like it. It's just all over the place. So I don't know what's to come exactly, but we did confirm that logo has no relation to the rivalry jerseys, and the rivalry jerseys will be here in like a month and a half.
Yeah, people want to buy new stuff. I'm shocked that I guess because it's just a giant corporation, but that the NFL just allows. Who was it? Who was the company? It's not New Balance, New Era, whatever hat company it is. Yeah, New Era. Just like go to town and make whatever the hell they want because like that, we're never going to see that R with the horn on anything Rams related outside of that hat, which is kind of a bummer because I thought that was actually kind of a cool logo. But what are you going to do? They only have the two logos, and I feel like they're pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree. I like it the way that it is. And at the end of the day, I don't give a shit what they wear. I just want to see them win. As
long as they win.
Be honest. But it's nice. Like the throwback jersey that I have behind me, the modern throwback that you have behind you, they're both great looks. The jersey you have behind you pops so great on TV. Yeah. I mean, you can't take your eyes off of the way that the Rams look when you're watching a game on TV. Right. Behind me, they got like the helmet was a little bit darker than the actual shade of the jersey. It seems like they have it fully corrected. But yeah, that's our little insider information and uniform scoop that we got for you for this week.
Yeah, just a little something. Great. It's perfect time to bring it up right now when there's not much else to talk about. Yeah. You hear about it in the middle of the season, you're like, all right, well, what else? Talk about the actual.
By this time next week, I'm sure there will be injury news. There'll be stuff coming out of camp. We're going to do the joint practices soon. So like there's going to be a lot of information that we'll have to share over the next week or so. But we'll be back similar time next week, and we'll be back consistently week over week as the entire season goes on. We'll be doing our 2 episodes per week, the preview and the recap, all season long, hopefully all the way up to the Super Bowl. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So this is kind of like the kickoff to this season. And as always, we greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. I know we took our vacation. Nick, we went on your bachelor party. So we were in San Diego having a hell of a time. I was just on a work trip for a full week. So like it's a little bit of a crazy time of year, but now it's starting to settle down. So excited to get back into the swing of football.
What season of Rams Brothers is this? 9?
I don't know. 7, I think. 8.
When did we start? 2018?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's like 9, right?
Yeah.
25.
7?
7.
7. I think it's 7. Confirmed. Neither of us can count. But we appreciate you guys. As always, Nick, anything you wanna say before we sign off for today?
No, I mean, we're gonna have a new ad sponsor this year, which me and Dean really are looking forward to, because then we get to bring in some revenue from the Rams Brothers, even though we would do it even if we didn't have any revenue coming in, because we just love doing it. We love you guys, checking in and responding and commenting, and it means the world to us. So appreciate you guys, and yeah, we're gonna be here all season.
I love it. Go Rams! I'm ready to go. Talk to you guys again next week. Peace.